Welcome to the Vibrant Visibility Podcast. Being visible as a soul-led business owner isn't just about the practical strategies, marketing tips, and tech systems. It's also about the internal systems, the safety of your nervous system, the somatic connection, and the embodiment of being a badass CEO that will support you in all of the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. And I'm here to share all of that with you on this show. I'm your host, Shawnee Arsenault, a registered nurse turned visibility coach and business mentor for heart-centered coaches and healers. I created a six-figure coaching practice in my first year of business and scaled to multiple six figures my second year, all in the middle of getting pregnant with my first baby and becoming a new mama. If I can do this entrepreneurship thing, I know you can too. If you're ready to learn how to be a CEO in a way that feels aligned with your heart, become a lighthouse for the people that you're meant to serve, feel free to authentically express yourself and be a magnet for success, and grow your coaching business in a way that is sustainable and fulfilling, I can't wait to be in your ear along for the ride. Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Vibrant Visibility. Today, I am coming at you fresh off of a launch. I just closed the doors to my group program, Vibrant Visibility, and we actually start, as this is recording, we start a week from today. So it's a week from today is the first call with all of the 8 women who have said yes to this space, and I'm so excited. But I wanted to share with you 5 launching skills that I found to be extremely helpful, extremely profitable, that not a lot of people are really talking about. Whenever people think about launching a new program or launching a business, there are certain skills that are a lot more tactical and a lot more about strategy. And the skills that I'm going to be talking about today are a little bit deeper, a little bit less obvious, maybe. And I really want to get this out there because I do think that there is a place for strategy. There is a place for planning things out ahead of time and having the logistics of a launch down. Yes, there's absolutely space for that. And I also think that launching a new program, because it is so involved, launching a new program or offer can be both really exhilarating, it can be so exciting, and it can be extremely terrifying, right? Because it's something new, it's something you've never done before, you have so many variables that are unknown. But these 5 key skills really helped me throughout this process to stay grounded, stay centered, and it really completely changed the game for me whenever it came to launching. These are skills that I truly believe set you up for long-term success, for sustainability, for longevity in your business, and so that you don't burn out. And these are skills that don't just apply to your business, but can really be transferable in any other area of your life, right? So these are ones that really come from the heart and the soul of your business. Like I said, there's always a place for tactical advice. There's always a place for logical steps and strategy. That's not what this is going to be. All right. So the 5 skills that I have for you, and I'm going to go into each one of them in a little bit more depth, but the 5 skills are authentic heart-to-heart connections. And I'm not talking about how many connections you make. I'm not talking about the wording. I'm talking about the energy, right? There's like a deeper layer to the connecting piece. And you're probably going to hear a lot of other business coaches out there say, yes, you have to directly connect with people in order to sell. And this just takes it a layer deeper. We're talking about authentic heart-to-heart unattached connections. The second skill is waiting for aligned timing or practicing patience. And this is one that I've really had to work hard at for this particular launch, and I'll dive a little bit deeper into that later on. The third one is the power of storytelling in your marketing, in your copywriting, in the way that you talk about your program or your offer. The 4th skill is detachment and trust. And the 5th skill is willingness to take risks, right? Willingness to risk and then ask for support. So hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll not only understand these skills, but really feel inspired to integrate them into your next launch, right? Practicing these skills right now, preparing for your next launch, whether it's next month or next year or whenever it is. Like I said, these skills are ones that can be translated into so many different areas of your business and also in your life as well. All right, so let's dig into it. Okay, let's start with something really foundational: connections. And I don't mean the kind of connections where you're just trying to sell or funnel people into your offers. You're just trying to hit your numbers. Like that's not the kind of connecting I'm talking about. I'm talking about genuine heart to heart connections. And that starts with vulnerability. It starts with authenticity. It starts with sharing with your audience where you are in the process. Okay. So there's a difference between connecting from a place of fear, of scarcity, of like, I really need to get the hype going. I really need attention for this launch versus connecting from the heart, versus connecting from exactly where you're at in the process. Throughout the entire process of me launching this program, Vibrant Visibility, I would share in real time all of the downloads that were coming to me. I would share in real time the creation of the marketing, the creation of the content, the inspiration that I would get on a day-to-day basis, rather than focusing on connecting with people and letting them know why they need this program, right? There's a different energy there. There's a different energy in like me being excited about creating something that I'm super passionate about versus wanting it to resonate with other people and morphing your language, morphing your marketing to fit what you think other people are going to want to hear or see. When you're driven by that fear, that scarcity, that I really want this launch to go well, I really want to make a lot of money with this launch, that motivation isn't really about the connection, right? It's an agenda essentially. And authenticity is the antidote to that. Authenticity is key here. And it's all about really being 100% you, sharing every part of the process with your audience. If you're having a bad day with the launch, sharing about it. If you're super excited and you can't stop talking about it and you feel really giddy and nerdy about it, share that piece of it without worrying about how others are going to perceive you, right? That's kind of what I really started to feel throughout this launch was the magic of being real, being authentic. And I mean, I got super nerdy about this launch. I went live several times in my Facebook group talking about this launch and really connecting with people on how excited I was about this program. And my excitement sparked other people's excitement. Right? If you're really excited about what you're offering, other people are naturally going to be very excited about what you're offering. So we want to be able to express that. We want to be able to put ourselves out there without having to worry about how others are going to perceive the marketing, how others are going to view whatever it is that you share. And so before you connect with others in the process of your launch, you need to connect with yourself. Right. And that was a huge part of my own inner work whenever it came to this launch was I really had to connect with myself. Why was I excited about this offer? Why was I really, really pumped about putting this out there? And it's also about understanding your own needs, your own values, your own desires, and showing up from that place of self-awareness. Right? For me, this program, the more that I talked about it, the more I felt it in my bones that people need this, right? If I had something like this at the beginning of my business, it would have totally changed the game for me. And so I think talking about it from a place of this is something that I feel like I would have needed back in the first year of my business. And then whenever I'm connecting with potential clients or, potential people that I'm talking to about this program, I'm not sitting there trying to get every single person on a call with me. I'm not sitting there trying to get every single person to apply for my program. I connect in genuine ways. I actively listen to the people that I'm talking to without an agenda. And then if something sparks in the conversation, if something sparks in something that they say that I feel intuitively led to offer my program to, I do it, right? Offering value without expectation. And then really showing up consistently in that connection as your true self, right? If it doesn't feel in alignment to offer them something, then don't. But then also, if it does feel in alignment to offer them something, and then you're starting to feel a little scared and that fear of rejection, be really honest with yourself, right? Connect with yourself first and acknowledge what blocks are there, what's preventing you from connecting with people authentically, and spend some time with that. Right. And the more you can break those walls down, the more that you can acknowledge what those fears are, where that scarcity mindset is coming from, and admit to yourself exactly where you're at in the process, then you'll be able to share more authentically with your audience where you're at in the process. And they will kind of see you as this like real human being. Whenever you are a successful business owner and you have multiple offers out there and you are very, very visible to the people that you help, naturally your audience is going to have you on some kind of pedestal. And being real like that, being really authentic and sharing where you're at in the entire process kind of brings you back down from that pedestal to that same level that they're at. And that's one of the things that I find really, really important about connection is how can we get to a place where I'm not talking to a potential client, I'm not talking to someone who could potentially buy my program or sign up for coaching with me, but I am talking to a human, right? I am a human talking to another human. They have something on their heart, something weighing on them. I have something on my heart weighing on me. And when you can come to that sense of understanding with your audience, it is so powerful during a launch. And there's not a number of people that you need to connect with. There's not a strategy in how you message someone other than just being totally real and totally yourself. Right? I have straight up told people on clarity calls, like shooting my shot with people. I've straight up told them, I have been wanting to coach you for such a long time. Just to be totally honest, totally transparent. Right? If I'm talking to one of my dream clients, I will straight up let them know that. Right? Everything you're saying to me is exactly what I am so passionate about supporting people with, and I know I could help you. And people will legit feel that. If you feel that in your bones when you're talking to somebody, they will feel it. You don't have to have specific skills in selling and all of that if you're just being real, if you're just speaking from the heart, because people pick up on that energy, right? If you are being very careful with your words and trying to kind of manipulate the language that you use to hopefully make it resonate with the person that you're speaking to, if it's coming from that energy, people can kind of tell, right? There's this level of lack of, genuine care behind it because there's this veil of like, I don't want to say selfishness, but that's kind of what word comes to mind is like, there's this veil of self-centeredness on top of it that is sometimes even subconscious. Like sometimes we don't even notice that that's there. So genuine connections, heart to heart, authentic connections. And that first comes with having a really genuine connection with yourself, acknowledging where you're at in the process. Skill number 2, and this one, it has been very, very loud for me, is waiting for aligned timing, right? And really practicing patience. Okay, so timing and patience, these are often very overlooked, but incredibly crucial in launching. And so I'm going to share a little story about this program. And I think I've talked about this in the past, maybe on a live or in a previous episode, but this program, Vibrant Visibility, that I'm starting next week or this week, I wanted to launch it a year and a half ago. And I had the ideas, I had the vision, but for some reason there was something inside of me that knew I needed to wait. I couldn't really put my finger on it. And at the time, whenever I had the original idea, I was going through postpartum depression. I had just had my son a few months before. I was coming back from maternity leave, trying to get back in the rhythm of working in my business. And then there was also this urgent part of me that was like, I need to make money. Right? I want to launch this now so I can make more money, right? And there's that fear of if I don't capitalize on this opportunity whenever I have the idea, it's going to be lost, right? I'm going to lose this opportunity. That's kind of the mindset that I was coming from. And then because I was coming from that energy, there was also this underlying fear of if I don't act now, I'm going to lose inspiration. If I don't act now, this isn't going to be sustainable. And so I felt like, I can even feel in my body how uncomfortable it was to work on this project from that space. And so I would bring this up with my coach all the time of like, I really have this desire to launch this group program. Like I know it's going to be so good, but there's just like something that's stopping me. There's something that's blocking me. And my coach basically said, you are going to launch this group program. It just doesn't have to be right now, right? Like let's refine what you have and wait until it feels aligned, right? Wait until that aligned timing comes. And honestly, that's not what I wanted to hear. It's not what I wanted to hear. I wanted to launch it right away. I wanted her to give me the go ahead. And, of course, I could have not listened, right? I could have not listened to her. I could have just launched it a year and a half ago. And I can, in hindsight, as I'm reflecting back on where my mind was at the time, whenever I first came up with the idea, I don't know that that launch would have been successful. I don't know that I would have had the energy, the capacity to be able to put into that launch the way that it deserved, the way that that program deserved, right? This program is solid, right? I felt so confident in the idea, and I knew that my coach was right in telling me to wait, because I knew this wasn't just going to be me throwing spaghetti at the wall to see if it worked. I knew it was going to work. So I needed to make sure that I was able to put the time, the energy, the heart, the soul, the passion into it that it deserved. And that meant waiting until I was ready, right? I wasn't ready then. I was going through a lot of mental health stuff. I was going through a huge life transition, becoming a new mama and coming back from maternity leave and really getting into the rhythm of being a business owner again and a new mom. So it didn't make sense for me to try to launch it a year and a half ago. I could have tried, but I don't think it would have been as successful as it was just now after this launch. Waiting that amount of time really gave me the clarity. It gave me the confidence that I needed in myself for a more successful launch, right? Because as I was waiting, I had this simmering in the back of my mind. I would write down ideas as they came to me without the pressure of creating it and launching it right away. And then in the meantime, I was systematizing all of my other things in my business. I was systematizing my one-on-ones, my membership, and really making those income streams sustainable so that now that I'm at the end of this launch, I feel like I was able to pour so much energy and so much time into making this launch amazing. And I don't think I would have had the space for that if I didn't have those other processes in place for kind of the offers that I already had out there in my business, right? And honestly, I really had to do a lot of mindset work around that piece of it, because systematizing my one-on-ones and my membership, it was boring, right? It wasn't exciting. It wasn't something that, got me really pumped at the beginning of the day. I didn't feel like that creative flow as I was doing that, but it's boring work that opened up space for me to do this creative project now. And so, okay, I kind of want to talk a little bit about tangible steps for how do you discern the right timing? How do you figure that out? How do you decide whether or not to launch something now or to wait? There's a couple of practical things I could share here. The first is listening to your body. I know you guys are probably sick of hearing me say this, but listening to your body, letting your body tell you if there is something holding you back from launching something, really taking your time until it becomes clear, right? Is it fear? Is it lack of clarity? Is it confidence in the actual offer, but worry that nobody's going to sign up? Right? Like really slowing it down and looking at what actually is it that's holding me back from launching. So listening to your body, letting your body tell you, right? And sometimes you don't always have a logical reason for waiting. Whenever I was in the moment last year, I couldn't think of any logical reasons, right? Because I was so emotionally attached to it and I was really excited about the idea. But whenever it came to how that launch was going to fit in my business and my life at that time, I couldn't logically think of it at the time, but now I can, And now that I can actually think about all of those logical reasons why it wouldn't have worked, I can come to this place of gratitude for trusting my intuition. Even if I didn't have the reasons why, my body was still telling me, wait, it's not the right time yet, wait. So listening to your intuition is a huge thing. And then I also think that understanding the readiness for your audience. For me, I'll share an example with this launch. I kept getting signs over and over and over again, meaning multiple people kept telling me the exact same thing that they were struggling with, that fear of being seen, that fear of putting themselves out there, fear of expressing themselves authentically and worrying about what people will think about them, right? And it all came in this clump of maybe 10 to 15 people, right? It wasn't just, oh, random sign here, random sign here. It was like, no, a wave of people saying the exact same problem that my program solves, right? And so I started to really think like, okay, is this the universe telling me that my audience is ready for this program? Right? So really thinking about, is my audience ready for it? Right? Maybe your audience is full of ideal clients that aren't at that stage of readiness yet. So how do we nurture them to get into that stage of readiness? So for me, I don't think my audience would have been ready last year either, because I wasn't ready. And I like to think that everything that I've done from last year up until now has been warming my audience up to be ready. Every email that I sent out, every time I showed up authentically visible in my business was that tiny little nudge closer and closer and closer to taking the leap that the people in my audience might have needed. So thinking about market readiness and actually listening to your audience and what they're needing. Okay, skill number 3 is storytelling, right? The power of storytelling and good copywriting for your marketing. And this is a little bit more tactical than the other two, but these are going to be your secret weapons when it comes to a successful launch, right? So I don't think people really understand the weight of good copywriting, of authentic, heart-centered copywriting and email marketing, and the impact of well-crafted marketing material, right? Like your words have power, and the way that you communicate your offer can really make or break your launch, honestly. And this ties a lot into the authentic connections that I talked about at the beginning. If you're writing a social media post, an email, in a way that reflects your authentic voice and connects with your audience to let them know who you are. If you can read an email and know exactly who a person is, that is a powerful tool inside of a launch. If you're relying on ChatGPT to write all of your email copy for you, write all of your social media posts for you, that is not the way, friends. That's not the way. Because people can smell the inauthenticity in those emails. We want to infuse you. How would you talk to these people? And write that way, right? One of my favorite exercises to do to really capture the storytelling piece of it is to voice memo in my phone, just to myself, a story. And then this is something that I've actually started doing recently that has been so, so powerful for the way that I write my copy in my emails or my social media posts is I will get off of a coaching call with somebody, whether that's a sales call, a clarity call, a coaching call with a paid client, and I will spend at least 2 minutes voice memoing an aha moment, a breakthrough moment from either my client or myself during that session. And the reason I do this is because I feel the most in my element whenever I am coaching somebody, whenever I am in front of another human, supporting them in the container, not worried about anything else, not worried about marketing, not worried about all the other aspects of my business that are floating around. I am focused in on that person, helping that person, supporting that person. And that's where my most powerful work is done. And so afterwards, it makes so much sense for us to capture the inspiration that can spark from a coaching session. Right? I get off of coaching sessions all the time and I have to write a social media post, even if I don't share it right away. I just have to write it down because likely, we're working with humans. As coaches and healers, we are working with humans. And so something that your client struggles with that they mention in session with you very likely is going to resonate with somebody else as well. Right? Now, I'm not talking about writing posts and creating content that shares a lot of the details of what you talk about with your clients, but I am talking about capturing the overall themes, capturing the overall stories, right? How does your client struggle relate to maybe your own struggle? And so I like to take a few minutes after every coaching call to kind of voice memo what my biggest takeaway from the session was. And that has really helped in capturing stories that I can share in my marketing, right? If you're sitting there writing really generic copy and inviting people into your coaching container, inviting people to your workshops or events or retreats or whatever, without infusing you into it, without infusing your personality, your experience, your feelings, your heart, it's going to fall so flat, right? So one of the assignments that I actually gave one of my clients that I'm working one-on-one with is to take every single person, like write down the names of every single person that you have helped, whether that's a paid client or a pro bono client, somebody that you've offered free coaching sessions to, whatever. Write down all their names. And then next to those names, write down as specific as possible what results they have gained from working with you, right? So if you're a health coach who helps women lose weight, right? A powerful story could be, I worked with this one client who came to me and she really wanted to lose weight and to be more confident in herself and her body and to love her body more. And after 3 months of working together, she's now able to look in the mirror and love what she sees. She's able to look in the mirror and speak to herself with such kindness. She walks around with this different energy, like people are more gravitated towards her. She feels more attracted to her husband. She feels more connected to her kids, right? Like thinking about those very, very specific situations that really ignite people's emotions, right? And if you can master that, if you can master the language of storytelling and really pulling people into the actual experience of what it's like to have results from coaching with you, I mean, it's gold. It's gold. And not even so much addressing like the pain points and the things that people struggle with, but I think it's helpful to use those in a sense of like relatability, right? Like if I connect with another person who has been struggling through something similar to me, there's a level of connection there. But what actually sells it is highlighting the results, highlighting the transformation. Because you can connect really well on mutual struggles. But the transformation is what people are after. The shift is what people really want. And so if you can make that shift really tangible for them and infuse that into all of your copywriting and all of your social media posts, your marketing is going to be magnetic and it's going to be so helpful for whatever you're launching. So telling stories and not using generic things that sound right. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm using air quotes. You don't want to just write generic marketing copy that sounds like everything else, right? You want to bring real situations. You want to bring tangible things that your audience can sink their teeth into that will bring to life inside of them what gaps your offer could fill. Even if you share a story or an example inside of your marketing that some people don't relate to, there's likely elements of that story that they relate to. Maybe not the specific circumstances, but maybe the underlying feelings, the thoughts, the thought patterns, the blocks, the fears. So even if the story doesn't relate, because we are all human, the underlying emotion and internal struggle is what they will relate to. So that's one big piece there of storytelling, copywriting, and making sure it comes from a genuine place. And it's very tied to that authentic heart-to-heart connection. You really, really want to be super connected to your own story, your own struggles, so you can use that. That's probably the most powerful asset that you have in your marketing is sharing your own experience, your own authentic experience, so that people can get to know you, right? People don't want to work with someone they don't feel like they know very well. And if they don't feel like they know you very well, they're also going to feel like you don't know them very well. There has to be that connection, that heart-to-heart connection, in order for your most aligned clients to come forward and raise their hand. Okay, so this next skill, self-trust, right? Self-trust is a huge theme with so many of my clients right now. Honestly, the self-trust has been a huge theme in all of the people, all of the women that have joined this first round of Vibrant Visibility. And along with that self-trust comes detachment, right? Detachment to the outcome. And these two, I think, are two sides of the same coin, honestly. And so when you believe When you wholeheartedly believe in what you're offering, you can detach from the outcome because you know it's all working out as it should, right? If you truly believe that this offer that you have, this program that you're launching, this masterclass, this workshop, this one-on-one coaching offer, this group coaching offer, whatever it is, if you truly believe in the work, if you truly believe in the magic of the offer, the result of the launch doesn't really matter. And you can detach from that. But there also has to be this level of self-trust that it will all work out as it should. There was a piece of me that was doubting a little bit whether or not this launch was going to work. My mentor gave me this really beautiful perspective on a coaching call, and she said, "This is your $1 million program." And after hearing her say that, it really instilled this level of deep trust in myself. Like, yeah, I mean, I really believe in this program. I really believe in this work. And I don't just see this being a program that I put out there and hope it works. Like, I know it's going to work. I feel so confident in it. And so even though I don't know the how, I don't know the why, I don't know the timing of the growth that this program is going to have, there's this deep trust in that I'm still going to be offering this program years from now. Right? And so even if things don't go as planned during the launch, even if I only had 1 to 2 women sign up, that result wouldn't have mattered because it still is going to give me a lot of data to work with so that I continue to make the program better, so that I continue to launch better and better each time. Like, if you're really committed and when you really truly believe that the program you're offering is good, the results of the first launch don't mean shit, right? The results of the first launch are merely information that you can gather to make the program better, to make the launch better next time. And so there has to be this willingness to trust that this process is unfolding exactly how it needs to for you to make that program your $1 million program. And that's kind of the self-trust that I really had to lean into creating Vibrant Visibility. And so how do we do that, right? How do we cultivate that trust and detach ourselves from the outcome, right? Because if this is something that you're also really passionate about, there could be this attachment of like, if it doesn't work out, if people don't sign up this first round, we could so easily make that mean something about ourselves, right? We could so easily make it mean I'm not a good enough coach. Nobody wants to do this work. Nobody's willing to invest the money. I'm not a good enough coach to be able to support this many people, right? And you see how that just kind of like, even as I say that out loud, it kind of sounds silly. And so in order to cultivate that deep sense of trust in yourself, there's an element of like mindset work you have to do, but then there's also a deeper element of somatically, how do we allow our bodies to feel safe believing in something we don't have evidence for yet? We really want to focus on the journey, right? The process of learning, the process of building your confidence, the process of mastering your skills, rather than the end goal of signing however many clients or making X amount of money. Right? And viewing those challenges as opportunities to learn and grow and be better. Right? We have to be willing to fail. And what's really important here is just to notice, even like a great place to start would be to notice how often you rely on external circumstances to validate your beliefs, to validate what you believe to be true. Right? If you believe in your business, if you believe in your offer, external circumstances shouldn't be able to shake that. And if there's any part of you that does feel shaken by it, what part of that is coming up? What part of that is arising, right? Likely this is going to be a trigger from your past. And this is the kind of work that we do inside of Vibrant Visibility, right? Of learning how to be with those parts of us that come up, that are scared, that are worried about what other people will think. And instead of pushing those parts of us away, we're meeting that with love. We are acknowledging that there's a need there that needs to be met. And then we're always coming back to the truth, right? What is the truth underneath all that fear and anxiety? The truth is, I have a badass offer and I know it's going to help people. And I feel really confident in my ability to support people through this. And no matter what results I get from this launch, it doesn't mean anything about me. So just kind of let that sink in and start to acknowledge for yourself, where is that level of self-trust within you? And the next skill that I talk about, the willingness to take risks, this ties so well into that self-trust piece, right? The willingness to take risks and then ask for support. Okay? These are your superpowers as an entrepreneur. If you are new to the entrepreneurship world, that willingness to take risks and then course correct very quickly and ask for help, ask for support, these are essential to being successful as an entrepreneur. And so this is a story that I think is going to be really helpful for those of you who are worried about taking a risk or worried about failing and failing in front of people, failing publicly, right? The reason that this program, Vibrant Visibility, exists is because I initially launched a retreat that I was going to host over the summer here in Washington. It was going to be beautiful. I felt so confident about the offer. It was going to be partnered with somebody else. And the enrollment for that retreat wasn't going very well. It didn't go as planned. And it really taught me a valuable lesson about risk taking. I remember coming to my calls with my mentor, feeling all my feelings about not filling the retreat, about having to cancel and refund people. And to be quite honest, it made me feel like shit. I felt so awful about it. And then it's interesting because whenever I realized how strongly I felt about this retreat not working out, I started to notice all of the things that my brain was pulling up to give me evidence that I wasn't good enough, to give me evidence that, like, see, you tried to do this and it didn't work. Why are you trying? And I started to become a lot more aware of those thoughts and how untrue they actually felt, right? Because I think with every risk, even those that don't work out, even those that don't work out to your favor, it brings such a wealth of experience and knowledge that shapes your future decisions. And they can shape your future decisions in negative ways, meaning you're afraid to try anything, or it can shape your future decisions in positive ways in that you're a little bit more practical and tactical whenever you approach the planning phase of another launch. And so I really had to learn how to feel all of my feelings with that risk that I took that didn't work out. I had to learn to seek support from my mentors, from my community, from my coaches, from my husband to help me navigate these risks more effectively. And then as I was doing that, as I was asking for support and really leaning into every feeling that came up, leaning into feeling all of the disappointment, all of the grief, all of the sadness, all of the fear, and not pushing all of that stuff away, because I asked for support, because I had people that were able to hold me in it, I was able to clear through all of the fog, trudge through all of the mud, and find all of the signs that were waiting for me that, okay, this didn't work out. And then I immediately got this wave of, it's group program time. It's time to launch your group program now. And again, I didn't really have like a logical reason for it, but I kept getting this overwhelming feeling of like almost like this year and a half of waiting on the sidelines, waiting patiently for the right timing to come along. And then whenever it did, bam, it hit so hard. And like I said, the marketing for this program wrote itself in like 2 weeks. I started creating the content for it so effortlessly. The more I connected with people about it, the more people were giving me these signs and reflections back that like, oh yeah, this is a program that needs to exist right now. And so if I wasn't able to risk being visible with that failed launch, this program, this group program that I'm starting this week on Wednesday, wouldn't exist. I wouldn't have 8 women inside of this group. I wouldn't have done a 30K launch with this initial program. And because I was willing to take so many risks in launching programs in the past, launching retreats, launching things that didn't work, I was able to create more confidence in this program. I was able to create more confidence in myself and develop that self-trust that it's going to work out. Right? So I want to share some practical advice here on how to assess for those risks and the importance of really having a support system in place to guide you through that challenging time, okay? So assessing the risk, right? Like we want to make sure that we are being smart with our risk taking, right? Realistically, investing in that retreat, I mean, I did take a little bit of a financial hit to it, but it wasn't so big to cause me to like be in the red or to cause me to really panic about my business. So I was okay with taking that mild financial risk. Even though that was something I did have to process a lot through on my coaching calls. Um, you want to be smart about the financial piece of it. How much of a financial risk is this going to be? Am I willing? Do I have space? Do I have capacity to recover from it if it doesn't work out? Like, those are some questions that you want to ask yourself. And then emotionally, am I willing to risk feeling not enough? Am I willing to risk feeling inadequate? Am I willing to risk feeling any negative way if this doesn't work out? And if the answer is no, then it's not time to launch. Okay, you have to be willing to risk it not working out. You have to be willing to risk inviting those negative feelings in whenever it doesn't work out. Because if you're not willing to risk that, if you're not willing to feel that way or expose yourself to the possibility of feeling that way, then you're in for such a miserable time as an entrepreneur. So am I willing to feel all of the feelings that will come with launching? And the other question you want to ask yourself too is who can support me, right? Who can help hold me and be there for me whenever things don't work out? Who can be there to celebrate with me if things do work out, right? Because if you're just sitting there trying to do this launch all on your own, if it doesn't go your way, if it doesn't go the way that you planned, there is so much risk for you to actually quit. I see so many coaches and healers and entrepreneurs that actually do amazing work and help people. I see them quit. They fucking quit because they don't have support. They're trying to do this on their own. They're trying to carry the weight of everything on their own. And you don't have to do that. That's why I think it's so important to at least have a coach, a mentor, a colleague. You know, if your partner or a family member or a friend is willing to sit there and hold you and hold space for you, absolutely pull them in, but make sure it is someone who understands you and understands the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, doesn't try to solve the problem for you, but just holds space for you while you process it. That's really, really important to have someone to support you as you go through this roller coaster of a launch, especially if it's your first one. Okay, so briefly, to summarize these 5 profitable launching skills, one is authentic connections, right? Authentic connections that are heart to heart, that are genuine, that are coming from you, right? Your soul, your passion, your excitement. Waiting for aligned timing and practicing patience. I know that can be really, really hard, especially at the beginning of your business where everything feels exciting and new. Sometimes it doesn't feel natural to wait. It doesn't feel natural to hold back and practice that patience. Like you kind of want to throw everything out there to see what sticks. And I think waiting for that aligned timing and that patience is going to be a skill that you will not regret developing as you move forward in future launches in your business. Storytelling and marketing, right? Infusing storytelling in your marketing and getting really good at copywriting, mastering the language of emotion. Self-trust. Remember, we talked about developing that self-trust and then also on the other side of that coin, detachment from the outcome. And then willingness to take risks and then ask for support in helping you manage those risks and assess those risks. And so these skills aren't just about launching, right? They're about finding a way to build a business that is aligned with your values, that is aligned with your vision for the future. And I think these skills are foundational for sustainable success. I hope this episode was helpful for you. Let me know what resonated with you. Which of these skills do you feel like you need to refine a little bit better, you need to master? I would love to know. Feel free to send me an email or throw it in the free Facebook group, Visibility and Tech Support for Coaches. If you're not a part of that free community yet, it is my favorite corner of the internet. The link to that is in the show notes. So join me and over 1,000 other heart-centered coaches and healers as we all grow and scale our business. If you are ready to dive deeper into these skills and really transform the way that you launch, the way that you're showing up visibly in your business, the waitlist for the next round of Vibrant Visibility is open, and it is the best way to ensure you get all the details as soon as they're available. The next round is starting in February, so get on the waitlist if this space is calling to you. I hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful week ahead, and I will see you on the flip side. Bye, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If this was helpful for you, subscribe to the show to make sure you're always in the loop when a new episode is out. And I would love to invite you to join me in the free Visibility and Tech Support for Coaches community, where we hang out and chat about all things visibility, tech, systems, and heart-centered business building. I regularly share tips and tutorials and go live every now and then, and it's just nice to be in a community with other like-minded coaches and healers. So you can join this free space at alignwellco.com/community, and I can't wait to see you there.